going. All right. First things first. Sometime in the next 2 weeks, will you go get this book? Okay. It might have a yellow cover on it. That's okay. They're the same book. Just one has red color, one has yellow. Just says business calc, has a light bulb. I think it's a light bulb. It's a pretty bad rendition. I record every class that I teach, and I post it on Schoology. So you have the opportunity, if you ever missed a class, you could watch the video of the class. Sorry, you only hear the voice and what's ever being written on the board. I mean, I could do this, and no one's going to be on camera because it doesn't do that way. I do that for a number of reasons, but one, the most important reason, I think, is you have the opportunity, if you needed, to stay caught up. You know, I have students that might be out. I have a student who's in statistics who's going to be out for the next week and a half, and hopefully that student takes the opportunity to watch the statistics video that's posted in her Schoology account, which is kind of cool. Yes, we have tests and quizzes. Okay, don't worry about them. Nothing to cry yourself to sleep over. But every Friday, starting this Friday, there is going to be something that happens every Friday that is not necessarily related exactly to the content that I'm teaching, but I will do a real-life application of math. Okay? The kind of stuff that I've heard the public say, gosh, I wish I would have learned that when in school. So this coming Friday, we are going to do something called fair division. Don't worry, it's not like the division you're thinking of, like you learned in 4th grade, and that was where you started hating stuff. But I think you'll enjoy Fridays because you'll definitely learn things of, I wish I would have known that, or I'm glad I know that going out of high school. I'll do anything from fair division to, you know, should you rent your furniture to own it? Going to the rent-to-own places. We'll rip on those guys. We will do buying a car or leasing a car. We will talk about taxes. We will talk about investments. We will talk about how investments work. Now, I don't have the inside trader knowledge to say, hey, here's a hot stock, so buy it. I go only, my entire portfolio is using mutual funds. That's all I've ever used, and I'm doing fine. Talk to you about how you can pay off a house faster, how mortgage payments work if you choose to buy a house sometime in your life, and why. Talk about health savings accounts and how that's a triple protected tax on health savings accounts, and that's a real thing. A lot of corporations are offering high deductible insurance plans that you have a health savings account. It's a savings account, and they give you a debit card, and you use your debit card. It's for major medical expenses, but once you hit the deductible, then it becomes free after that. So these are all things that will hit throughout the year. The one that's the most fun, and we'll do right around tax season, is we all know, or hopefully we know, that what the media posts a lot of times is trying to go against one political party or another, depending upon which station you watch. And I'll make fun of both sides of politics. The left, the right, and even in the middle. Okay? That's just who I am. I'm not perfect by any means. I don't claim to be. I will make mistakes. Don't worry about that. And call me on my mistakes. You're not going to offend me. But what I am going to hand to you all is basically the first 2 weeks of this course. Don't worry. There's no homework tonight. Okay, you have my word. Deal? Well, I can't guarantee that from other classes, but not for my class. Deal? So please bring this back. One thing I would like you to have out on your desks at all times, said only class that you've ever probably taken here, is I need your cell phones out, always in class, on your desk. I need your cell phones while you're sitting there. If you can, please load a free app called Desmos, Desmos. I will show you and teach you how to use Desmos to be a valuable tool for you. The Desmos that you're looking at for, there's two different things, but you're looking for the graphing calculator of Desmos. And I'm going to show you things algebraically that you're going to be kind of frustrated at your Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 teacher because they didn't show it that way. It's okay, we're bending the rules. We're having some fun. Okay? All right, friends. Did you all find Desmos? If not, it is a green icon, I believe. And on that green icon, it looks like you have, it looks like a chain link fence kind of, but it's like two graphs put together. Does this make sense? And once you load that, fantastic. But we're going to play the system a little bit. Can I do that? Can I break the rules? Is that okay? I'm not going to break the rules in a bad way. I'm just going to show you how a tool might happen. So looking at this, does everyone have a packet? Did I forget anybody first off? Okay, so looking at problem number 1, factoring. Okay? Some of you might have gotten factoring really well. Agree? Some of you might be like, dude, the person next to me was way smarter than me and they helped me out. Agree? I mean, that's just life. I'm not saying that it's not. And then some of you might have just going, let's just get through this unit. So let me show you how to factor on Desmos. Now, Desmos works on a computer as well. So if you ever want to have your computer in here or your tablet, it'll work on that. And it's just desmos.com. So that's what I'm going to use. My Desmos on my computer is going to look similar to yours. But I'll get onto it, and I'm going to just hit graphing calculator. Okay. So again, we're breaking the rules a little bit. This is what I'm assuming. You all are coming to me kind of like, I might know how to factor, but you might not. Agree? Now again, we're breaking the rules a little bit. So none of these problems on this front page has y equals. Agree? So I'm going to break the rules. I'm going to act like the majority of these have y equals. So I'm just going to do quick and easy. Y equals x squared minus 49. And lo and behold, we have ourselves a parabola. I'll make this a little darker for you. Okay? Parabola has one turning point, meaning it goes from going, in this case, going down to going up. The turning point is called the vertex. Is that terms you've heard before? Okay. When we're factoring, what we're mainly looking for is where this is crossing the x-axis. So on Desmos, the nice thing about Desmos is you just hover and put a dot, and you'll see that it crosses the x-axis at both -7 and +7. Do you agree? Nothing too complex, right? All right. So -7, +7. Agree? All still with me? And I know some of you are like, dude, Stirp, I know it's x plus 7, x minus 7. I understand. I'm just trying to get a foundation of where Desmos can be your tool. Because one thing I've learned about you all, because I have 2 daughters, they're both in college now. Okay? But the one thing that you will not forget each day is your head, because it's screwed on tight. The second most important thing is your phone will go with you. Your phone's with you, you have Desmos with you. If, and I hope you have loaded it, or will load it. Agree? You might forget your own shoes, but your phone's in your hand, right? You ever see this ever happen to you? You left your phone charging someplace in some classroom and you accidentally walked out. It's like I stole your ice cream cone when you left it in my classroom. Yeah, you see my cell phone? Yeah, it's right there. Oh, thank God. It's just that's how it's been ingrained with you, and that's fine. So this is the problem. Now we notice that on our problem up there, I have y equals, and on our sheet we don't have y equals. So this again, I said we're cheating the system a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my board. Go back to here. Switch pages, and so we have x squared. Come on, baby. X squared minus 49. Now, on Desmos, I'm going to do this in blue. We added that on Desmos to allow this to work for us. And we saw that we had this and this as our 2 points. Okay? So what we're doing is, if we wanted to factor this, we have to realize that this 7 and this -7 are the important aspects to our problem. So what this basically means, does everyone feel comfortable that this is an x value as a point, x comma y? Agree? All right, so I know that x is equal to 7, and I know that x is equal to -7. So just using a little simple algebra, take this back and make it into a binomial. So x minus 7. Add 7, x plus 7. So this factored is x minus 7, x plus 7, in whatever order you would like. Okay, now, difference of 2 squares is what that is called. Usually in Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, you're nailing the difference of 2 squares. You get it. So I chose a very simple problem to jump on. So let's move and take a look at number 3. Okay, number 3 on our page is this. Now, you might have learned the grouping method to factor. You might have learned what we refer to here at Creek as the 90-10 method, and anything in between. But this, in my opinion, is a tougher one to factor. Do you feel comfortable with me saying that? I mean, some of you might have gone through going, I know I have 4x and x, or you have 2x and 2x as your first number. I know I'm going to have both negative signs because my last term is a positive. The reason they're both negative is because the middle term is also negative. And you're like, yeah, that's where I lost Algebra 1. I skipped that problem. Now we're not going to skip it. So if I'm going to use this on Desmos, what's the first thing I'm going to do to bend the rules? Yeah, I'm going to do y equals. You still with me? So y equals is going to work nicely with Desmos. So I'm going to jump back over to Desmos, get rid of my last graph, and we're going to do y equals 4x squared minus 13x plus 3. And my friends, notice where it's crossing the x-axis on my graph is at 0.25 and 3. Okay, this is where we have to use a little critical thinking. So 0.25 and 3. Did anyone try this on your own calculator by chance? Do you concur with the answer? Okay. So those are my 2 answers I'm going to go to. Again, we're cheating the system a little bit. Okay, and I'm not cheating the system because we're not really cheating. We're utilizing the tools that are available for us to get the problem right. Okay? All right, so what did we say? Was one of the answers 0.25, comma 0? What was the other answer? I'm sorry. 3, comma 0. Thank you. All right, so I think maybe by about this point, this is going to refer to x equals 3. So what is the binomial of that going to be? What would I have to do to get x and 3 on the same side. Yeah, it's a positive 3, so I'm going to have to subtract it, so x minus 3. So that's going to be my first binomial. Now the 0.25, we have to kind of think about this a little bit. 0.25 as a decimal or as a fraction would be what? 1/4? Agree? Okay. So 0.25 and 1/4 are the exact same number. Agree? All right. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to say that x is equal to 1/4. Now, I don't want fractions. I don't like the F word being up on my board. Fraction. I don't like it. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 4 first. That cancels out, so I get 4x is equal to 1. Bring the 1 over by subtracting it. Here's my other binomial. So this factored out in whatever order you want to put the two binomials is going to be this. And this is usually where you start realizing, oh, wait a minute. That problem would have been skipped in Algebra 2 by a lot of people. Like you try it, you get it wrong. You get it back, you're like, oh, I got it wrong. You might try it again because you're like, I'm going to get it this time. You get it wrong again. Usually by the third or fourth time of you trying it and getting it wrong, you just basically say, you know, this concept is not me. But now I just made this concept you. Has anyone ever seen factoring done this way before? Where you utilize technology to see where it crosses the x-axis? Okay? And this doesn't matter if it's raised to the second power, third power, fourth power. As long as it crosses the x-axis and they are rational, that means that decimal can be written as a fraction, it's going to work for you. The ones that are irrational won't factor. If they don't factor and you wanted to solve for x, you could either go through the fantastic method of completing the square or doing your most favorite thing that you always got wrong, the quadratic formula. You got it wrong because you knew the stupid song, but you got it wrong because there was way too many signs. Okay? But the answer, the factored version of 4x squared minus 13x plus 3 is 4x minus 1, x minus 3. I could have written x minus 3 and 4x minus 1 as well. It doesn't matter which way you're going to write it. Okay? I haven't seen this before. All right, so I said that that works for the third power. So I'm going to skip over number 6 because I don't want to deal with x and y's right off the bat. Okay? But I think number 7, it's raised to the third power. So we take a look at number 7. We have 6x to the third plus 8x squared minus 8x. Now, some of you might look at that saying, well, they all have a 2 and an x in common, and I can factor that out front. Good. Some of you are going, what? So we're bending the rules. We're going to use Desmos. So what's the first thing I should do when I use Desmos? Y equals. Okay. So we want to factor this, what it comes out to. Y equals 6x raised to the third plus 8x squared minus 8x boom, boom, boom. Negative 2 comma 0, 0 comma 0, and 0.667. Anyone know what 0.667 is roughly as a fraction? 2/3? Okay. Does everyone feel comfortable how I'm doing this on Desmos? And again, it's so nice that it works so conveniently for us. So let's rework it. So I add 0, 0, comma 0, negative 2, comma 0, and 0.667, comma 0. Is that right? Well, if you get x equals 0, x equals 0, how do I make that a binomial? Well, and keep that as x. What is this one going to transfer to as a binomial? X equals negative 2. What does it come out to as a binomial? X plus 2. So far, these are part of our answer. We have to realize that 0.667 is the same fraction as 2/3. Okay, if you go 2 divided by 3 on your calculator, you get 0.6 repeating. Eventually, your calculator has the very end come out to be a 7. Desmos just chooses 3 decimal places as its go-to. Okay, x equals 2/3. What should I do to solve that? I don't like fractions, so what am I going to do? Excuse me. Yeah, multiply both sides by 3. So then I get 3x minus 2. Or 3x equals 2. Subtract 2. 3x minus 2. That's my binomial. Now, the only thing you have to be careful of, you are going to be so completely right with this as an answer, but there's one little trick that we have to see. In order for me to get 6x to the third, it has to be this x times 3x. X times x is x squared. X squared times 3x is 3x squared. Is 3x squared the same thing as 6x to the third, excuse me. X times x times x to the third. Is 3x to the third the same thing as 6x to the third? What would I have to multiply 3x to the third by to get 6x to the third? 2. So there's a 2 that goes in front of that first x. Done. I haven't taught 6th period at all this school year, so what time do we get out? 1:42. Okay. So I'm going to pause there. Will you bring this packet back? But I wanted to tell you a little bit about stirrup before you leave. Was there homework tonight for my class? No? So the kid who comes back and has the whole packet finished because they stayed up till 4 o'clock in the morning? Oh boy.